I just want to be very clear, it's not that I can't keep a job. It's that I don't know what I want to be when I grow up. So, first things first, change is all around us. The title of this was Sight versus Vision. I'd like to slightly change that. I would like to ask you to go along with me on my journey through sight so I can share some of the lessons I've learned about vision. But like any journey, you have some prep work to do. So the first thing I'm going to ask is, how many of you out there have that one piece of clothing? The shirt, the sweater, the jeans, the sweatpants that your friends and your family can't stand. Right? We all have that. Yet, in spite of all of that evidence, the data, it's stained, it's stretched, it's torn, it's out of fashion. It remains stubbornly in our closet. I have this jacket. This jacket is no longer fashionable. It's frayed. My favorite pocket is the one that hangs out. Yet this coat is held together by memories, it's held together by experiences, and it brings me comfort. The ability to ignore reality, to protect our memories, our experiences, and our comfort is uniquely human. It's also a good working definition of resistance to change. So when you start to prepare to go on a journey, you have to prepare to be very uncomfortable. We have to take those memories that no longer mean what we think and get them out of our closet. Before we start the journey again, I'm going to offer you my definition of sight. Sight is a physiological and neurological system to gather data. Nothing more, nothing less. How many people in this room have 20/20 vision? Okay, how many of you have corrected 20/20 vision? Excellent. So your eyesight's perfect. Your eyes are fine. I'm going to challenge you on that. I would like all of you to form a triangle with your fingers. Keeping both eyes open, that light in the ceiling, put it in the center of that triangle. Now close your left eye. Open it. Close your right eye. What did you see? One eye works as well as when both eyes are open, and the other one is skewed. So no matter how perfect our 20/20 vision is, we're not always getting the same data from sources that we trust. So let's say that's the first thing we're taking on our trip after getting rid of our memories. At the age of 35, I was blessed. I had 20/10 vision in one eye and 20/15 in the other. Glasses, I didn't need no stinking glasses. I was proud of that. Sort of very comfortable in the fact that my eyes were about as good as you can get. At the age of 40 on this journey, I'm grading papers. And I'm reading research on my laptop. And the words start to merge. And then the sentences start to merge. Pretty soon the paragraphs are starting to merge. All the evidence that my eyes were aging was there, but because I'm a human being, I did what most of us would do. Drive right past the optometrist, to the pharmacy, to the kiosk for my 1.5 power glasses, because there was nothing wrong with my sight. My eyes were tired. And I told myself that until I was 45, when suddenly distance was an issue. Now, let me give you a little bit of context. The red brick you see in these buildings all over campus has a side that's very granular, sandy. If you rub it, it actually comes off in your fingers. When your vision is 20/10, you can see that granular surface from 20 yards away. I am now straining through the windshield of my car to try and read the road sign that just went by. Dramatic change. A little bit disconcerting, actually. More evidence was coming my way. And as an informed adult, I did exactly what you can anticipate. I threw out those 1.5 power glasses, drove right to the pharmacy, and got the 2.0s. Because I didn't realize how tired my eyes were. Age of 50, I was about to be informed that my world was going to change. I was going to be told that I had astigmatism. Now, for those of you that aren't familiar with astigmatism, the cornea, the lens of your eyes, is supposed to be smooth, clean, just perfect. But over time, and due to some different conditions, it becomes like a rugby ball or assumes the shape of a soccer ball. Well, there's a problem. Since the cornea is supposed to be flat and let light in throughout your eye, it's suddenly bouncing off the uneven surfaces. I'm in the optometrist office about to find this out. He has one of those fancy machines he puts up to my face. It looks like a sci-fi version of a Mardi Gras mask, if you've ever seen that one up there. And he says, I'm going to start turning these dials. You tell me when something happens. I hear the click. I hear another click. Suddenly, every light in the room explodes, and I'm seeing everything so clear. And it was the first aha moment in my journey that my unwillingness to pay attention to all the facts, I had accepted that I would live in darkness and without clarity. But the optometrist, he did a great job, diagnosed it, wrote that prescription. I went and got my trifocals. The issues were all taken care of. Then I had my second aha moment. For those of you that have worn bifocals or trifocals and can remember back to the first time you put them on, and the whole world moves. You learn that walking downstairs and stepping off of curbs is a whole new life experience with trifocals. The aha moment was, you may finally admit you need glasses. You may even seek out the best lenses. But if you don't practice using them, if you don't incorporate them into your everyday life, it's a wasted effort. So that was a journey through my own sight that paralleled my journey of understanding about the term vision. Vision, in my book, is the interpretation of the data that your sight gathered. In 1988, I was the admitting charge nurse at the Baltimore Shock Trauma Center in the neurotrauma unit. I was working evening shifts. A gentleman was admitted, brought in, and I'm doing his neuro exam. Just like anybody that watches Grey's Anatomy, because that's such an exact science of a show, I had the flashlight, so I went across the eyes. The pupils moved like they were supposed to. I said, follow my finger, up, down, back, forth, and that person tracked everything. One problem. They were blind. The next lesson. The gentleman had been hit with a baseball bat to the back of the skull. His eyes were responding because he still had his sight, his data gathering mechanisms. The baseball bat scrambled his visual cortex, the interpretation part of the brain. So the next learning hit me at that point as a brand new nurse that I can have vision without sight, but I can't have sight without vision. So I continued to look at my journey through glasses and challenge my journey through vision. First stop is, what is nearsighted vision? I only had to look at myself. I was a detail person. I was type A. I was a project manager. I think the classic term for someone like me is I was anal. I was so about my project, I never saw how it plugged into the bigger picture. And if the bigger picture dictated a change in my project, I fought it, because it was going to make me take that coat off, and I wasn't ready for it. Farsighted. As you mature, especially in the business world, I suddenly had farsighted vision. I was all about the big picture. You have to understand where we're going. As I would run through the stop signs right in front of me, I lost the ability to look at the details in my life and sometimes revel in the wonder of the details, because I always was looking to the future. A perfect example of this is anyone who has ever worked with a person who got a promotion, and the very next thing they did was start planning their next promotion. And they forget about all the details in between. But just like sight, the biggest threat to your vision is what I will call visual astigmatism. Each of these represent biases, assumptions, refusal to ask, refusal to accept, denial. In other words, visual astigmatism is your acceptance of darkness and your willingness to live without clarity. Now, the problems I've discussed in vision are correctable. With sight, you eventually stop driving by and actually go to the optometrist. But if you want to correct your vision, there's only one expert that can do it, and that's you. Can you take the memories and keep the appropriate ones? Can you start listening to the people around you? Are you willing to accept change? So where an optometrist might write a prescription, you need to sit and reflect with the most important person in your life, and that's yourself. Now, to step away from this as we get kind of heavy and deep, I'm going to ask, how many people in the room have multiple pairs of sunglasses? Yeah. Guilty as charged. I have this pair of sunglasses for when I hike, when I camp. It's sort of my homage to MacGyver. I like to have those. When I fish, I have these. And these are for absolutely everything else. How many of you have gone to the pharmacy, to Target, to whatever store, and looked up in that little piece of reflective plastic and went, awesome for Bethany. These would be great in the car. They'll go nuts when they see me in these. I'll leave you with a question. How many of you have spent that much time selecting, cleaning, and learning to use your internal lenses?